There is a liquid that defies every law of thermodynamics known to man. It looks like distilled water, but it carries a distinct, bright red hue. This crimson stain is the only warning one receives before the laws of physics begin to unravel. This substance is designated as SCP-009. To look at it is to see something familiar, yet fundamentally wrong. In our world, water freezes when the temperature drops and boils when it rises. SCP-009 operates in reverse. It exists as a liquid only when the environment is freezing, between 100 and 0 degrees Celsius. If the temperature climbs above 0, the substance does not melt. It solidifies into a red ice. And if the temperature plunges below -100 degrees, it does not freeze. Instead, it vaporizes into a gaseous steam. It is an anti-enthalpathic anomaly. It behaves as if it belongs to a universe where the very nature of heat and cold is mirrored. But the true horror of SCP-009 is not its defiance of physics. It is its hunger. SCP-009 possesses a predatory ability to contaminate any aqueous solution it touches. When it comes into contact with normal water, it does not simply mix. It assimilates. Through mechanisms that remain unknown, it transfers its anomalous properties to the other liquid, turning it red and transforming it into more of itself. Testing has confirmed that nothing is safe from this conversion. It can assimilate ice. It can assimilate steam. It can turn tea, fruit juice, and seawater into a crimson mirror of itself. Most disturbingly, it can assimilate blood. When SCP-009 enters a living organism, the process follows a consistent, agonizing pattern. It begins with initial exposure. At first, the subject feels almost nothing. There is only a slight warming sensation on the skin where the substance has touched. The red liquid begins to quietly assimilate the moisture on the surface of the body. Then comes the surface conversion. As the heat from the subject's own body raises the temperature of SCP-009 above 0 degrees, the substance begins to solidify. Frost forms on the exposed area. Within minutes, or sometimes hours, crystals begin to push through the epidermis. The subject feels these red shards piercing their skin from the outside in. Once the surface is breached, the reaction accelerates into deep tissue conversion. This is a runaway process. The internal temperature of the substance increases exponentially, triggering a chain reaction throughout the body. The internal organs are not merely frozen, they are replaced. Because the resulting ice crystals seal off blood vessels, actual blood loss is minimal. This leads to a cruel paradox. The subject does not bleed out. Instead, they remain alive and fully conscious as their insides are slowly converted into red ice. They can linger in this state for hours, trapped in a body that is becoming a statue of crimson glass. The records of these experiments on D-class personnel were eventually discontinued. Some things are too harrowing to document in detail. The Foundation first encountered this entity in the wilderness of Alaska. In November of 19 reports arrived from a native tribe. They had discovered the bodies of a team of seal hunters who had been shipwrecked kilometers away from their village. The scene was a nightmare of red. Every victim was found encased in red ice. The official cause of death was recorded because the ambient temperatures in Alaska were so low. The freezing process was retarded. The cold slowed the conversion. This did not save the hunters. It only prolonged their suffering. It ensured they remained conscious for a much longer period, as the substance claimed them from within. The retrieval team also found an arachnoid entity at the site, later identified as an instance of SCP-009. The origin of the red liquid remains a mystery, though evidence suggests it may be linked to other anomalies. Upon analyzing the recovery site, the Foundation realized how close the world came to a catastrophe. The victims were found on a stretch of barren rock, several meters away from the seashore. The ground was dry and cold enough to prevent the substance from spreading. If SCP-009 had reached the ocean, there is little doubt that an extinction-level event would have ensued. A single drop in the Pacific could have triggered a chain reaction, turning the world's oceans into red ice and erasing all aquatic life in a wave of anti-enthalpathic conversion. Because of this risk, SCP-009 is held under the strictest containment. It resides within a sealed storage tank made of heat-resistant alloy. The chamber is a vacuum, monitored by redundant cooling units that must never fail. The temperature must be kept between -30 and -25 degrees Celsius. If the sensors detect a climb toward zero, the chamber is immediately locked down and flooded with coolant. To allow SCP-009 to warm up is to risk its solidification. To let it touch water is to invite disaster. Personnel interacting with the object wear full environmental protection gear. After every test, they must undergo dehydration procedures and be quarantined for 12 hours. Any single molecule of moisture found to be contaminated by SCP-009 is immediately seized and returned to containment. If a living organism is found to be infected, there is no cure. They are terminated via chemical desiccation. Some have wondered if this substance could be useful. There were inquiries into using SCP-009 for cold fusion research. These requests were denied. The Foundation cannot afford another disaster like the one that claimed Dr. Richardson, whose remains have still not been fully recovered from site. The most unsettling evidence of the substance's nature comes from a cross-testing report recovered by SCP-507, who shifted into an alternate universe where a different experiment was conducted. In that world, researchers used SCP-107 to introduce SCP-009 into the environment. The result was a snowfall of red crystals that lasted for 27 minutes. The grass in the test area underwent a runaway reaction and froze instantly. But other plants did something far stranger. They did not die. They mutated. The flora turned bright red and expanded in size. They grew cyan-colored tentacles, similar to those of carnivorous sundews. These plants began producing in tiny beads of SCP-009 as mucilage. It appeared that the substance was not just a chemical, but a blueprint for a different kind of life. The mutated plants were reflections of flora from whatever alien universe SCP-009 originated from. It is not merely a liquid. It is an invasive ecosystem. We keep it in the dark. We keep it cold. We keep the power on and we stay away from its containment area. For now, that is enough to keep the world safe. But as long as that red liquid exists, we are reminded that there are worlds out there where our laws of nature are inverted and where life thrives on everything we find lethal. And all it takes is one leak, one drop of moisture, or one failure in the cooling system for our world to begin turning red.